Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco, Wager Talk. This edition of Puck Time we missed yesterday. Our system crashed, so there was no show on Mondays. Our apologies. It kind of delayed the rest of the shows as well. But we're good to go now. I've got Don Buster and Bryan Leonard stepping in, covering for Andrew McInnes, who is flying home today from Vegas. I think he's back in Canada now, but won't be home until later this evening. For you guys that made it out to the Puck Time Wager Talk meet and greet, what a fantastic event. This took a lot of hard work to put together, and it just, we saw so many of you guys come out, a lot of free swag, drinks given out. A big thanks to, obviously, to Wager Talk for sponsoring all of the swag, to Ralph Michaels, who put together a very cool system to get everyone drink tickets, so they can enjoy a few pops while watching some of the NCAA March Madness action and meeting some of the people from Wager Talk and the rest of the crew. Obviously, the girls and Jason from our Detroit office, who flew in, helped me at that tedious task of sorry about that, guys. My wife popped into the screen there. That tedious task of putting all of the swag together. Anyways, with that said, guys, we got 4 games today that we're going to cover. Let's bring in Bryan. Let's bring in Buster. Bryan, you, like me, are fighting a bit of a cold. The wind tunnel got me in the hotels. I went out with a T-shirt yesterday, and all the wind between the Cosmo and the area, if you're walking across those bridges, it was very cold with that wind, and I ended up with a cold. How you doing?
Yeah, same way. A little under the weather today, so I'll try to keep everything short, and I'm sure you're looking to do the same thing. So, yeah, I really had a good time the other day, and got to meet a lot of people. Got to see some media people in town that I haven't seen in many years. Catch up with them for a minute. So, a lot of fun, and let's get back to some hockey winning.
Buster, you don't have any wind tunnels there. It's like 100 every single day over there, Fahrenheit, and like what, 30-ish. So how you doing, man? How's Mexico treating you?
Well, Mexico is treating me very well. And it's funny you say that, Carmine, because today we have this huge wind off the Gulf today, to the point where I had to put stuff into some of the smaller windows because they've been rattling like crazy, and you'd probably hear it across the mic. So it's kind of funny how you say that about the wind that you went through a wind tunnel there. Too bad you guys aren't feeling that good. But then again, Bryan lives in Vegas, so he knows the drill. But, Carm, you've been there for a while, and you're going into your second week. So, maybe take a day off, regroup, and get back at her.
All right, and get back at it we will do. Let's kick it off. Let's have a look at the first of 4 games we are going to cover. This one is a great one. I'm looking forward to this one. Carolina and Tampa Bay. The odds on this one, let's get it up on the screen. Carolina -115, Tampa -105. The total in this one is 5.5. And Bryan, I'm going to go to you first on this one, but let me tell you, I had the Carolina Hurricanes off that 3rd loss when they were playing at home against the New York Rangers. I couldn't believe. I thought it was a really bad spot for the Rangers coming off a big win against Tampa, and they switch in goal to Georgiev, which is obviously a downgrade from Shesterkin. And for the last 30 minutes of that game, it just looked like it was a Carolina power play that they could not score on. 44-18, the shots on goal. It was 15-8 in the last period. They just could not get a goal, and then an empty netter obviously salts that one away. I think they bounce back here. I know it's Tampa, and Tampa's normally very good off a loss, but Tampa's kind of playing out their season. They know where they're going to finish. In one of those top 3 spots in the Atlantic. So, with that said, they lost 3 in a row recently, won a couple against the Kraken and Vancouver, and now lost to the Rangers in that late winner at the end of the game by Zibanejad. So give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, very similar to you. Tampa Bay is a team that's basically knows what they're going to do. They're a veteran team. They've got nothing to prove. And what we'll find with a lot of teams yesterday and today is with the trade deadline, a lot of new faces. So it takes a while for teams to start to feel each other out and get to know each other a little bit. And so those are the teams I'm trying to go against a little bit for the next few days. And one of them is Tampa Bay. Carolina, you mentioned it. This was a team going into the All Star break that had one of the best offenses in hockey, and they have not scored many goals since. But this is still a quality team. If you look at the year to date numbers, they're still the better team over Tampa Bay. Both teams are playing their 11th game in 22 days. This has been a brutal schedule for everybody, some even worse than that. And it's the third or fourth straight games for Carolina at home. Carolina's lost four straight games. You've got a team right now that has lost four straight, and they're off a shutout loss to the Rangers last time out. This is a must-win game for Carolina. I think Carolina is going to come out with a better effort here. Game is more important to them, and I'm kind of surprised at what the line is. I thought they'd be more of a favorite here, so we're getting them at a cheap number. I like Carolina. I agree in this game.
All right, so Brian, Buster, well, let's bring you in. Are you going to complete the agreement on the Carolina Panthers, or are you going with Tampa here?
I'm actually not going with either club here. I think both clubs haven't been playing that well. Like Brian said, Carolina's lost four straight. Tampa Bay's lost four out of six. It does look like Tampa Bay did quite well at the trade deadline. They got Hagel, Nick Paul, and they got Nash back they put him on waivers in, I think, November or so, and they got him back from Arizona. So obviously they know he can help in the playoffs. Second game of three between these two clubs. Carolina won the first one. Brian mentioned Carolina dominated that game in Tampa. They only won in overtime. And the thing is, though, for Tampa Bay, first game of a road trip, right? But they haven't been playing that well on the road. They're 3-3 on their last road trip, and this is the first of a 4-game road trip. So, again, that gives me pause on the Tampa Bay side for sure. With Carolina losing four straight, again, that kind of seems to give me pause. But you mentioned the Ranger game there, Carmine. Geez, they dominated that game, lost 2-0. They can't score. So when you have a team that can't score, I don't want to be putting my money on a team that can't score. They probably are the play here, but again, there's better ways to go. For me, in this game, although it's 5.5, I like it under. Even at 5.5. We talked about this before, about some games now will be like playoff games. They've already played 2-1 in the first one. The under is 6-1-1 last day in Carolina. Carolina has played the last 9 games 7-1-1 to the under. Tampa Bay's been under 5-0. So as far as the side goes, can't choose one here, but I will take the under.
All right. It's Don Buster of Sports Memo with his thoughts on the Carolina and Tampa Bay game. Guys, let's get into the Washington Capitals and the St. Louis Blues. Let's get the numbers on this one. Washington, a short price favorite at home, minus 140. The Blues are plus 120. The total 6 here. And Brian, I'm going to go to you on this one. This is one of those ones where Friday, I think it was on Friday, I recorded the 6 in 60 segment anyways, even though we didn't have a show. It was on my Twitter on Saturday morning. And, I looked at one game, which was the Montreal and Ottawa game, and that game ended up pushing. But Montreal was really trending. At that point, they had gone over the total 8 straight times. I look at this Washington Capitals team, and it's a similar thing. You look at this team is finally scoring. When they struggled, they couldn't find the back of the net. And now you look at their last 10 games, 8 of them have gone over the total. The team is finding the back of the net. And the Blues themselves have been trending to some overs as of late. I think 4 of the last 5 Blues games have gone over the total. I'm just going to look at the over in this game and go over 6. Thoughts, Brian?
I'm not going to make much of a comment on the total. As you know, I'm more of a side player. But out of every game we're talking about today, this is probably my weakest opinion, but I kind of like St. Louis here, just from a standpoint of they're playing very poorly right now. If you take a look at the season to date, they're the better team. They've outscored the opposition by 10 more goals than what Washington has. Washington comes in pretty fat and happy. St. Louis is a team struggling right now. So lean with St. Louis. It's not going to make my card or anything. And I really do like this card. But just a slight lean here on St. Louis. I just think there's a little bit of value on the team that needs the game more.
All right, Buster, thoughts on this one? Can you pick a side, or are you looking at a total possibly here?
Well, Carmine, I know this is shocking to you, but I'm with you on the over. This is my best bet for my clients tonight. I already put it out over 6. Washington's been playing well. They've been scoring goals. They've went over 7 of their last 8 games, and actually the last game it was the last game that went under. It was 3-2, and it was 6, I believe. So no empty net. They could have maybe pushed that one too. And St. Louis, they haven't been playing that well, losing 7 of the last 9 games. But I think one of you said 4 to 5 to the over, so they have been scoring. As for the side, no, again, there's something about this, and I'll talk about this more maybe in the last game, about just have that feeling with St. Louis here. Washington's 140. They've won 7 out of 8 or something, and St. Louis is, like I said, lost 7 out of 9. They're 140. Should they not be higher? But I'm with Bryan. I have that little feeling on St. Louis if I was going to take a side here. But because you almost know Vegas wants you to take Washington with that number. Well, I've been around a little bit too long maybe to know that those are the kind of things that you just want to stay away from or bet the underdog. But yeah, really like the over here, and that'll be my play.
All right, Buster, I've always said you are one of the smartest people I know when you agree with me. So with that said, let's move on, guys. It's Tuesday, so obviously it is $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured cappers play for only $2. These are plays that normally sell for $25 and $35 over at WagerTalk. It's Rob Vino. Rob has a platinum best bet in the NBA. You get that for only $2. Along with that are some great promo offers. And at Sports Memo, it's a trio of $2 cappers as normal. It's Dion D'Amico with a college basketball play, Rocky Atkinson with a big NHL play, and R&R totals with an NBA play. So you can head over there and get those plays as well, along with some great deals. All right, boys, game number 3. We're looking at the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. Let's have a quick look at the odds on this one. The Dallas Stars, minus 125 at home. The Edmonton Oilers, plus 105. The total here is 6. Right, I'm going to go to you first on this one, but the Oilers, this is the second of a back-to-back. They played really well last night against Colorado, and they come off a very successful homestand, I believe, where they went 5-0. The team's starting to score. They're starting to play much better, and while they did lose in OT, they pick up a valuable point in that playoff race. I looked at the markets on this one, and Dallas originally started at about 140, 145. That line has been driven down since the overnights came out. I'm leaning to the Oilers. I get it. Dallas is a very good team at home, but they have lost 3 of the last 5. And I'm okay with the Oilers being on the second of a back-to-back because they're playing extremely well right now. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, they are. They're playing very well, although the game yesterday did go to overtime. But yeah, you mentioned it. Not only are they winning, they're winning by margins. They beat the Capitals at home 4-3 in overtime, but since that time, they beat Tampa Bay by 3, beat Detroit by 2, beat Buffalo by 5, beat New Jersey by 3. Now, granted, they're not the greatest teams out there, but to take Colorado, a team that looks even better now after the trade deadline yesterday, take them to overtime yesterday, this is a team I'm looking to back on, and you're playing a Dallas team. You know, it's interesting when you take a look at this Dallas schedule. This will be their 10th straight game in 10 different cities. So basically, they would have traveled 10 straight times. They're not even done with that. They've got, by the time this is all over, they'll be playing 17 straight games in all different cities, as they don't have back-to-back games all month in Dallas at home. So this is a team where they're really fighting to get to the playoffs right now, and the schedule is really against them here. Very similar to the last game. I think there's value here on the underdog. I like Edmonton. You can still get them at a plus price right now. I think the money opened up Dallas 45. It's now down to like 21 to 25. And I think that's the correct way. I like Edmonton here. And that'll be my play on this selection.
All right. And Brian, just before we go to Buster for his thoughts on this one, you look at the race in that West, and where the East is obviously already locked up pretty much with knowing the 8 teams, just the positioning left to decide. You look at the races here, and you go from literally third, where you have the Minnesota Wild at 78, and you go down to Vancouver in 11th at 68, and it's just such a wide open race. I have to believe this is going to go down to the wire, possibly the last weekend of the NHL season. Is there a team that is sitting? I know this isn't something that I threw at you earlier, but is there a team on the outside looking in that you would favor to make a run, possibly?
Out of the West?
Out of the West. You've got Vegas is sitting in that last spot at 72. You've got Dallas at 71. Jets and Canucks at 68. I think Anaheim is done and dusted. They've lost at least 5 in a row at this point here. So, you're looking at it, and Dallas sitting back. They have games in hand. The Jets, the amoeba of the NHL, they win when you think they're going to lose, and they lose when you think they're going to win. I can't figure them out.
Yeah, I think Vancouver and Winnipeg are two teams that are still alive here. Especially they played a lot better hockey as of late for Vancouver since the coaching change. But with the talent that Vegas has, right now they're like right on the border of making the playoffs. But with the talent that they have, they should be able to make it in. But yeah, those are two teams in Vancouver and Winnipeg I'll be looking to bet on for the most part going forward.
All right, Buster, listen, Bryan mentioned that market starting at 145 down to like minus 120, 121 in some spots. And we've seen the overnight lines with the markets moving. They've moved in the right direction when you look at the final scores, the final score lines at the end of the night. Is this one that you believe the market is correct?
Well, you're always going to get Edmonton money, especially now that they've been playing well and people saw the game last night. They looked very, very good, even with Smith and net. But back-to-back for Edmonton, tough spot for them, especially after having to play in Denver with the altitude and everything, right? So now they come back and play here in Dallas. Bryan has mentioned, and the schedule is very important, and all this stuff moving forward. Really, you have to look at the schedule. 4th game in 6 nights for both clubs. Actually, Edmonton's 1-5 in the last 6 in this situation. Dallas, they're 4-1 in this situation. Problem with being on Dallas, first game at home off of a 4-game road trip, right? So that's a spot that, again, we've talked about a lot that we don't really, care to be taking that side. So to me, to pick a side here, it's super tough. I find it the toughest game on the card to pick a side. As far as the total, I like it under. Even though Edmonton only got a couple last night, these guys are certain teams are going to be playing playoff hockey, and certain teams are going to be playing pond hockey, and you got to look at those matchups. But they've already played 4-1. The under's 6-1 the last 7 between the clubs. The under's 4-0 in Dallas. No Smith tonight. You like that if you're betting under. And with Koskinen, he plays well. Ottinger, he's been really good. Dallas is really good at home. They play more defensively at home. And it's funny, with us getting guys will be going to games, like, to pick a side here. Sometimes you're better off just not even, like, your best bet is just not is passing on the side or passing on a game. And I say this because I get a lot of times people will, DM me, like my All Access clients will DM me and say, hey, listen, I know you didn't put out this game. What's your opinion on this? I'm going to the game, or I'm going out with my buddies on Saturday night. We're all getting together. We're watching this game. I need to bet this game. I want an opinion. And then they always say that classic that we always say, gun to head, I take this side. Well, I tell you, in this game, with what I just gave out as my analysis, gun to head, pull the trigger, because I cannot take a side here. So give me the under 6.
All right, Buster, with the under 6, I can agree with you on that one. All right, guys, let's look at the last game on the schedule for tonight. It's the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. The Jets minus 160 at home. The Vegas Knights plus 135. I was out shopping yesterday with my wife, and I had recorded a video. The yesterday's show was canceled, but my show best bet was going to be the Vegas Golden Knights team total over 2.5. I think it was like minus 140. Well, somebody scored 3 goals in that game, but it sure wasn't the Vegas Golden Knights, as they were shut out 3-0 by the Minnesota Wild after scoring 10 in the previous 2 games, 5-1 over the Kings, 5-1 over the Panthers. Still tough to figure this team out. That's 6 straight losses on the road, and now again they're fighting Winnipeg. This is a big 2 points for these two teams, even with 20 some odd games left. If you can snag 2 points here, it goes a long way. Bryan, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Do the Knights rebound off that? It's a back-to-back, but do they rebound off that loss last night?
Yeah, that game last night that you talked about, I was somewhat against you on that one, I guess, because I had Minnesota as a 5% play, and that was pretty solid. They actually took a goal away from Minnesota in the first period. They blew a whistle right before they scored a goal. So, but yeah, it's a situation for me that sometimes your best bets are games in which you have to hold your nose to play. And to be totally honest with you, even though I went against Vegas yesterday, I kind of like the Knights here. Situation for me, obviously, this is their 13th game in 22 days. It's been a brutal schedule. But, and I hate to bring this back as a reminder, Carmine, but a week ago today, we were out in a local bar with Marco and his wife, and we were watching this game. And it was so bad, I made the comment that I think Winnipeg was going to score 8 goals. Well, they scored 7. It was a complete embarrassment. They beat Vegas 7-3, I believe, in that game. Vegas, as you mentioned, have lost 6 straight on the road. They're off of a shutout loss. They're playing a team that they were embarrassed a week ago, 7-3. This is a game that Vegas needs. This is a game that Vegas has to have. And as much as Winnipeg wants this game, I know we're going to get the best we can get out of Vegas. The problem is, while most contenders made themselves better over the break with the trade deadline yesterday, Vegas is actually worse, as they had to trade Davidow, or whatever his name is, just to get Davidow. Yes, I'm sorry, to get a little cold in my head, but to get under the salary cap a little bit more, save $3.75 million. But you mentioned their lack of scoring lately. He's one of the 2 guys, or 3 guys actually, including Eichel, that have done scoring in the last week. So they come out yesterday without him, and they get shut out. But I expect them to come out tonight and play a great game. I want to be on the team that I think is going to be playing harder in this game. And if you take a look at the rosters, they still think Vegas is the better team here, even though they've got a lot of guys missing. They still have some talent on this team. They got the best player on the ice in Eichel. So give me Vegas as a sizable underdog here. And I think they're the better team, and we're getting them in that regard. I like Vegas.
All right. Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com, with his take on the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. And Bryan and I are going to be going on Thursday's game, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Nashville Predators. My friends arrive in town today. My Vegas trip is extended. It ends on Friday, but I'm taking 7 people to the game, including Tokyo Brandon, who is in town. He'll be coming to the game as well with me. So there's 6 of us. 6 of my buddies and myself, 7 of us going to the game. I'm looking forward to that on Thursday. All right, guys, let's look at our show best bets now. Buster? Actually, Buster, I haven't gone to you on the Winnipeg game, so my apologies. Give us your thoughts on the Winnipeg-Vegas Golden Knights game.
Well, Carmine, I don't want to be the guy that was here last week when you and Andrew and the whole chat, I think, and everybody else was calling me a little bit crazy for saying, like, you know what? We like Winnipeg here. Didn't like the number, but we liked Winnipeg. And again, this seems like Groundhog Day to me with this Winnipeg Jets team. Every Tuesday I sit here 2 weeks ago. Again, I disagreed with you and Andrew, and took Winnipeg against Tampa Bay, and they crushed them. And again, I hate, like with my buddy Bryan in the time that we never get to go on, I hate disagreeing with him. The only thing I will agree with him is that this line has gone way up. So now, when I wrote this up, it was Winnipeg was minus 130. I could bet them at 130. I see they're like 160 now, so it's a stay away from me. But like I said last week, Winnipeg is one of these teams at home that just, they play really well, and they get up for these big teams, and they've proved it the last 2 Tuesdays, and we've talked about it. As far as this total, it's at 6. It was at 6 last week. As we all know, it went well over the total. But they were 5-0-1 in Winnipeg. Now they're 5-1-1 to the under. So not sure you with the back-to-back for Vegas. Again, I said this last week, I'll say it again. I think it's just a bad spot for Vegas here. But now that everybody's hammered Winnipeg, I don't blame Bryan for taking Vegas because of the sheer number. But I want no part of that. Winnipeg has won 5 of the last 7. Vegas 0-6 on the road. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things. They can't win on the road for a while. I don't like I said last week, love Hellebuck in net in Winnipeg. I think Brossois is going to be in net for Vegas. That spot, don't like it at all. If anything, I take Winnipeg, but you might have to play them in regulation now.
Sorry about that, guys. I was muted there. I had the cough. I got this cold. I'm fighting this cold, so my apologies there. But that's Don Buster with his take on the Vegas Golden Knights and Winnipeg Jets. Guys, let's get into the best bet segment on the show. I'm going to go first on this one, the game that we talked about earlier. I'm going to take the Edmonton Oilers. I played this overnight. I wanted to get better plus money on them. They were 115 at the time, 110 when we went to air with the show. And I'm going to take the Edmonton Oilers plus 110 as the show best bet. Up at WagerTalk, I've got 3 plays loaded right now. I may actually add some plays to that. I'm waiting on some information on goalies and on players with that trade deadline ending yesterday. So if you purchase that package, just update it around 6 p.m. Eastern time to see if there are any additional plays added to that. Buster, what do you have up at Sports Memo, and give us your show best bet?
Okay, Carmine. Well, you had already mentioned it before. Go to Sports Memo. We've got 3 cappers for only $5. You get it's a $2 Tuesday, but at Sports Memo, what we've been doing over there for probably about maybe 5 weeks now, we've had 3 cappers up and only $5 and get all their bets. So head over to Sports Memo and grab that deal. And if you want, go over there. I've got a nice college basketball best bet up for $12 on our site. Had an okay weekend. I think about split the weekend in college basketball. So looking to go on a big run to end the tournament. But head over to Sports Memo. Like I say, that 3 capper for $5 can't go wrong there. Our show best bet. We lost our first period play last week, but that's all right. Sometimes you can't win them all. We've been doing very well with that. It's going to be Calgary, first period on the puck line, getting plus 110. And San Jose kind of owns Calgary a little bit here. So really believe that Calgary comes out with some purpose, and HC Suter knows. He'll be telling his team, listen, this team has got the best of you a lot, and it's time to start quick. And I think they get the jump on a San Jose team that's on the outside looking in, and I think they're probably done as far as the playoffs go. And best of luck to everyone, and thanks again for having me, Carmine, on Tuesdays.
As always, my friend, as always. Bryan, let's go to you to close out the 3 of the best bets. Tell us what you got up at WagerTalk and your show best bet.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we swept the board yesterday, including the 5% play on Minnesota. Now 25-10 in our history on NHL 5% plays. We've got a 4% and 5 3% plays going today. This is one of the stronger cards I've seen all season long. I really like this card. 6 plays up in hockey on today's card. Instead of buying them separately for $150 total, get it all for $29. Number 2 this season in NHL net profit. Number 2 last season in NHL net profit. Really like this card today. Our free play today will be the game we spoke about to open up the show, and that's getting Carolina at home. We made a lot of money going against Tampa Bay this season because a lot of people are just betting on what they see, and 2-time defending champions. But this is a team that knows what they have to do to get to the playoffs. They know what they've got to do to get prepared for what they're likely to face in the playoffs. And they made some nice moves yesterday. And this is a team that's more concerned about what's going to happen in a few weeks as opposed to what's going on now. You mentioned basically the Eastern Conference is pretty much all locked up. But Carolina is a team that has not been playing well. They have not scored well as of late. This is a show-me game for Carolina. I think this is the team that comes out here and plays with a purpose, and I really like the line on this game. I expected it to be about 20 cents higher. Give me the home team in this one. I'll take them as my best bet on today's show.
All right, Bryan Leonard of WagerTalk.com. Let's review the best bets. I have the Edmonton Oilers money line plus 110. Don Buster, Calgary, first period, -0.5, +110. Best of luck to Buster. He always hits those, seems like he always hits those +110 or plus money bets in the first period. And Bryan Leonard, the Carolina Hurricanes, money line, -115 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Apologies again about yesterday's show. Tomorrow, Andrew returns to his regular seat. It'll be him and the Prez. I will be off tomorrow. If you're looking for me, I will be at Stadium Swim in a cabana. So with that said, guys, I want to enjoy the rest of my Vegas trip. Best of luck to all of you on your wagers tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.